This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Swung on, drive to left field. Did he do it? He did! 4 home runs for Nick Kurtz! He is 6 for 6!
Swing and a drive, deep to left. The A's take the lead in grand fashion.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Stretch of the pitch to Cal. Swing and a drive, deep to right field. There it is, number 60, the modern-day Bambino.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe from humidors to walk-off dingers.
That swung at a high, deep drive to right. Smith is back. He will not even watch it. And the A's win it on a walk-off by Nick Kurtz.
We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Happy Monday, everybody. Yes, it is A's Cast Live as the A's are back on the road, going to be taking on the Kansas City Royals for 4. And then where do we go, Commander? We go to Houston?
Houston, yeah.
Houston, who just lost 2 out of 3 against the Seattle Mariners. So this division stinks. This division is wide open still at this point. A lot of the games that the A's have left, 38 games left, are against teams that are playing for something. I guess someone forgot to tell the Texas Rangers they're playing for something, the way they looked over the weekend and the way they've looked lately. But the A's are definitely playing for something. Who do we have on the show today?
We got our good friend, the Hud Man, the Wonder Dog, Rex Hudler, coming up in about 10 minutes.
Rex Hudler.
Of the Royals television broadcast. And then we'll have Bill Moriarty of Athletics Farm, because we got a lot going on with Drew Burris, and we want to know what's going on with Leo and Jamie Arnold.
How's Leo's health?
Yeah.
That's kind of been out there. So I want to kind of check in to see how actually Leo is doing. So we're on A's Cast. We're on the A's Radio Network, 650 KSTE. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Hello to everybody. We on in Vegas?
We are. Silver
Hello,
State
Las
Sports
Vegas.
and Entertainment Network. So
Larry King would say, Las Vegas, hello.
So it's going to be a good week. 3 in Kansas City and for us, and then 1 on Friday against the Astros.
Quick review of the weekend. A's win their first series at home for the first time since late April against Kansas City.
Fitting.
All right, so even all these notes have been saying the A's haven't won at home since Las Vegas against the Colorado Rockies. We've been talking about he hadn't won a series in Sacramento. So that was big. We will get into that. Also, my hot take, my Tigers got roughed up this weekend by the Chicago White Sox. My hot take that the Tigers are going to come back and win the Central, that didn't go well. Milwaukee takes 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers. Dodgers are reeling. Does it mean anything? Probably not, because the Brewers rolled the Dodgers last year, and we saw what happened in the NLCS. But Dave Roberts is admitting we are not playing well. By the way, you're looking at the highlights of Lawrence Butler, who has hit a home run in 4 out of the last 5 games. Tommy Tanks hit his first home run yesterday. Henry Bolte is emerging as something special, as we've told you for years he would. That's been great to see. Tyler Soderstrom is going to see a hip specialist. I'm not reporting. This is just a guess. I don't think we're going to see him again for the rest of the season. I think he's going to see a specialist. There's 38 games left. I just think at some point Tyler Soderstrom might get shut down. The investment in him, largest contract in A's history, $86 million. He's got to get, players get banged up. The whole team's banged up. But Tyler, if there's anything that needs to be done, you want it to be done as soon as possible to have him ready for whenever we start playing baseball next year.
Which there's good news, though. He'll start the season on an 11-game hitting streak.
If that is the case.
Yes.
Yeah. But if the hip specialist says, hey, you can play with this, get back out there, that'd be great. But I just think where we are sitting out, now seeing the specialist, 38 games left, I just, I don't know if I just don't know if we're going to see him again this season. He's just too valuable. But specialists might say, good to go, get out there and play. You can play with it, and he'll be out. So I'm not going to be shocked either way if he's back in the lineup or if we just say Tyler's got to go get healthy and he's too these 38 games, well, by the time he'd come back, be 30-something games, aren't worth not getting him right for next year and getting him healthy.
Yeah, and you want him healthy. You want Kurtz healthy, obviously rookie. You want all those guys back next year to see this full lineup and what will be our last year in West Sacramento before we head into Las Vegas, to see what this lineup can do with the potential it has, because it wasn't great this year, but a lot of it, Rooker got hurt early. Now we're dealing with Kurtz's thumb and Sodersham's hip. Jacob Wilson has a myriad of injuries that he's playing through. So having these guys back will be, and obviously Shea Langoliers with his knee. Maybe we see him, but
it's his father, Jack, who told us at some point he may need some stuff done in the offseason. His father told us that.
Yeah.
So Jacob's playing through it. And I'm glad to see that, because, you give guys contract extensions. These guys got to learn. We talked about it with Bob Melvin yesterday on A's Cast on NBC. Young players need to learn how to play at not 100% and play through the season. And if you remember our last interview with Ron Washington as the Angels manager. Now, I interviewed Wash now as a Giants coach at the ballpark in West Sacramento earlier this year. But my last interview before he had the heart issue, he talked about, I'm making my young guys play tired. They need to learn this is how it works. Now, years ago, as Ray Fosse taught us, we had a thing called amphetamines, greenies. Guys would feel tired, pop. I mean, you're basically speed. You're taking the amphetamine and you're right back ready to rock. Obviously, very addictive and not good for the human body long term. So baseball tests and does not allow that anymore. But Wash basically said, I'm going to play these young guys and I'm going to tell them, no, you're not getting a day off. You're playing tired. You're playing the day game after the night game. You remember that interview?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm teaching these kids, this is how big league baseball works. You don't get very many days off. You play every day. You're going to be hurt. You're going to have bumps and bruises and you're tired and you got to get out there and perform. And speaking of that, last night I get home from Sacramento. Took the kids out. We had dinner, played a little golf, trying to get my kids into golf. But then I settled into my backyard, haven't been there. Turned on my TV in the backyard, and I'm watching on Sunday night on NBC. They call it the scorecard. It's not quick pitch that they do normally. It's called the scorecard. And I'm watching my guy, Brian Kinney and Tom Verducci. Tom Verducci, one of the great writers. Now he's a broadcaster, also been doing it for years for MLB Network. He said something that I went, you got to be kidding me. But at least you're really being honest, because our game has a lot of salesmanship in it when it comes from the media standpoint. He's talking about the Baltimore Orioles last night.
Oh, they're in the playoff spot.
And all of a sudden, and he's talking about, all the pressure's off, so they started playing well again. And I just went, this is the sales job. At the beginning of the year, teams don't play well because the pressure's on. You need to win, right? So that's why anything that's done from like here on out needs to have a little bit of an asterisk when you're on a bad team, because it's like, yeah, you're doing it when you don't have to do it, when the pressure's not on. Young people need to learn how to play with expectations, with pressure. That's what good teams do. So when teams are out of it and all of a sudden late in the season they start winning, people go, hey, look how they played at the end of the year. Didn't mean it. Does it mean something? It's good for these guys and the experience of blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't mean it's going to carry over to next year. Someone starts playing well when the pressure's off. That's a good sign? It's good to see a guy play well, but is this a good sign that you don't start playing well till you show up to the ballpark and the games technically really don't matter when it comes to the standings and playoffs? That's a scary thing.
It was something we talked about last year with the A's team from last year that played really well in the second half and ended 76 and 86. There was no pressure. And the team's starting to play a little better right now, too, so it'll be interesting to see how the team finishes. Obviously, they're not going to get to 76 wins, but it'll be interesting to see how they finish the season with no pressure now.
I mentioned this to Bob Melvin yesterday in the post game, and that player for me is Jacob Lopez. Jacob Lopez threw the ball well at times last year and later in the season. Then he starts out this season, wasn't good. Goes down to AAA, and Fran Reardon and the boys down there fix players like it's unbelievable. I don't know how we don't talk about that enough. Well, maybe we'll get into that with Bill. But they do a great job of rehabbing guys, just not physically, but mentally down at AAA. And Lopez has come back in the last 7 starts. He's been hell on wheels. So can Jacob Lopez, and I asked Melvin about the mentality for the manager to keep this guy. This is your baseline. This is how you should pitch. Well, can he carry that over to next year? Right? When we start saying, well, look at Ginn. All right, Ginn's learning how to do it. Jump is just learning how to be a starter every 5 days, but Ginn's really learning how to do it. Well, now Jacob Lopez has a body of work at 2 years where you've seen that, he can play. But can he go through an off season, go through a spring training, let's say it's like it's going to be normal, and then come out next year and look like he does now? So now there's expectations. Can you play with expectations? That is a big question. And can Jacob Lopez carry over from season to season what we're seeing? It's just not the stuff. It's the mentality. It's been very, very impressive. And our next guest knows all about that because he brought it every single day. It didn't matter if his team was in the playoff contention or it wasn't in playoff contention. It didn't matter. You got to move that. What chair are we looking at? You got to move that one. Do we have the Hud man, the great Rex Hudler?
Hey, fellas, what's up, man?
How are you?
Hey, Chris, I'm doing great. You did pick an off day for me, though. I don't have to go into the ballpark today, but let me rephrase that. I don't get to go to the ballpark today.
Wait a minute. I'm building up you're a guy that brings it every single day and you got an off day?
Not by my account. The team,
right.
The beginning of the season, the team said, Hud, you're getting old and we need to bring in some young, fresh faces. And I said, what? I'd never get old. I take those young pills. So we're better off. We brought in Hosmer, world champion, 2015, Jeremy Guthrie. So look, I'm sharing the booth this year, so that's okay.
Well, we were just talking about like some of our young players, learning how to play every single day. And I did an interview last time Ron Washington was manager of the Angels. We had him on, and he talked about how he was forcing his young guys out there, even when they were tired. Everybody wants to talk about giving guys day off. So Wash was like, no, they need to go out and learn how to play with bumps and bruises and tired and day games after night games. You need to learn how to do that. Talk about that, because you were a guy that brought it every day, 162. These young kids, and especially since we're promoting them so fast from college, they need to learn this is a 6.5 month journey that you got to keep your body in shape. You got to get your sleep. If anybody knows this, it's you.
Yeah, what a grind it was. Now, I've been accused by some of my other big league guys on different teams and everything, saying that, Hud, you wouldn't have played like you played if you played 7 days a week, 6 days a week. They said you wouldn't play that way because you expend too much energy. And I said, fellas, what do you mean by that? I only know one way to play. How am I going to play in second gear? I've never played in second gear before. And I would love the chance to play 6 days a week. Now, I remember with the Angels, Marcel Latchman, I happened to get hot. I think I played 38 games in a row. And I drugged myself into Latch's office. And I was 35 years old. And I said, Latch, bench me or trade me. I'm not playing no more, man. I never signed up for this. So it was a grind, but at 35, heck, 38 days in a row, that was a nice run. And but in the minors for 10 years, I played every day. Man, it's just part of it. If you snooze, you lose, and you can't make the club in the tub. And once they find that out, those young players, when they miss a game and then they get Wally pipped, then they'll start changing their mind. They'll start changing, hey, look, maybe I can handle this. Yeah, maybe you'd stay in at night, or now none of them go out anyway because of these phones. Nobody goes anywhere because they'll get recognized and it'll all be on social media. So get to bed early, get your rest, sleep in, take a nap. Tell your buddies, hey, look, I'm in the off season. I'll hang out with you. This is my grind. So you take care of your body and you go and you attack. And then once you get through that, Chris, then you say, wow, all right, I know I can do it. And then you become a guy. But in the off seasons, when you make your gains, if you're sleeping at 6 o'clock in the morning, somebody's going to take your job. That's why I always got up early, got my training out of the way. And at 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'm doing my hammer curls going, I'm going to, Willie Randolph, I'm going to take your job. And I'm going to beat that. The early bird gets the early worm. And that's the drive. So you make your gains, you build, you lift. You lift as hard and strong as you can, because that's going to give you endurance to handle a 162 game season. Now, for me, I didn't lift during the season when I was playing baseball. My frame, I would play it down. I would play it down and then get into baseball shape, and it carried me for the whole season. Then I couldn't wait to start my 6-month training program again and do those wide grip chins. And when you do wide grip chins, your hands, baseball's all about hands. You got to have hand strength. So those chins, you're holding yourself on the bar and you're working the back, your hands, your forearm and your lats. And I would always build that lat up here on this side, because once you bust that pitcher 10 times, he's going to get tired of that and he's going to drill you. So the hood of the Cobra, I would flex it for him. I would flex the hood. I would take the rock and sprint to first base and never rub it. Never let your opponent know that he hurt you. That was a mosquito bite. And I'd run to first base. And then I'm looking for their second baseman or their shortstop. I'm going to get somebody for that.
Yeah, the way the game was meant to be played. Unfortunately, you don't see that anymore.
You see my T-shirt?
Yeah.
My CAGS T-shirt.
Lumberjack.
Yeah. Whoa, watch out for Lumberjack. He's coming strong.
I love the Cobra, though. You're showing him the Cobra.
The hood of the Cobra. Yeah, look, and you just flex that sucker, and he drills you there, and it barely even makes a mark, and you just spit at him and run to first base. That's what I did. I didn't get a hit a ton of times, but there was some. I had a little flair in me, believe it or not. I had a little bit of not hot dog, but I was flashy because I wasn't afraid. So guys would drill me. They would pay me back whenever it came for a payback. And, paybacks nowadays get you suspended for 10 days. Oh, my God. You can't retaliate or any of that. The game has turned so soft. Give me a bucket. I'd like to throw up.
In this series, Rex, we have two teams that when they were leaving Arizona, they thought they had a chance. Like the Athletics, we thought we had a chance. We can throw out all the excuses. Nobody cares. Nobody feels sorry for you. But we have a boatload of injuries. Basically all of our best players are hurt. But the pitching hasn't been there. We've had issues. We've now released our pitching coach. We've released our GM. I mean, it's been a rough season here. And you say the same thing about the Kansas City Royals. I mean, here you got this Central right now with the battle with the White Sox and the Tigers. Everybody thought the Royals would be a part of that. What happened in Kansas City this year?
Second game of the season. Estevez, our closer, led the world in saves all last year, American League, National League. Second game of the year against the Atlanta Braves, had a 3-run lead in the 9th inning, and he went out there and squandered 3 runs, and then they hit him in the foot and busted his foot, and we hadn't seen him all year. Ever since then, it's gone right downhill. Because when you bust the closer, not only bust him, but you hurt him, now that throws the whole bullpen into chaos. Now everybody's got to move up a roll. And your guy Urseg, we love his stuff. He has had the most unlucky season I've ever seen in a pitcher. It's amazing how many. He's like 7 or 8 blown saves, and he's having a hard time fielding out there. Even though he was the third baseman, it's just amazing. We haven't been able to slot anybody. So when we've had leads, we haven't been able to hold them. So we're like leaders in baseball with 1-run losses, 1- and 2-run games, and our pen has let us down. And then when you lose, even Bobby Witt Jr. for a couple of weeks, his first time in his career, he went on the shelf. Vinny Pasquantino was missing. Garcia, our third baseman, was out too and still out. Isbell, our center fielder. So same thing as you guys. But look, this was always good. It's good for opportunities for other players to shine and to show what they can do. That was my position whenever I was a player. I would get in there and stop that. You put a little plug in that leak and go out and play. And my manager was happy. I wanted to please my manager. So if you're a pleaser and you're a guy who wants to play and you're hungry and you want a 10-year pension, you need to get after it. You flat out put any of your little problems you're having, any little aches and pains, and you go out there and you fight for your family, Chris. That's what I did. I fought for my family. Heck, it's my family against yours. And after 10 years in the minors, man, I had a chip on my shoulder. It was big. Players need to have a chip. They need to have something to play for. If you don't, you'll turn soft and you'll be in the tub after a while.
You know what? It makes me think Lou Merlone, when Boston was in town, we were talking about Wilson Contreras, and he goes, I'm just going to tell you, Wilson, 10 years in the big leagues, a success, all-star. He's been fighting. He got the Red Sox back into it this year. He goes, this guy, what is he, 34, 35? He just goes, he plays like someone's trying to take his career from him. And I went, wow, that is a great way to put it, because I grew up watching you with the Angels. And yes, you did have flair, and you were an absolute fan favorite. People Angel fans loved you, but that's how you played. You played like someone was trying to take your career from you, and everybody needs to play like that.
That's what I'm saying. It's a chip. You call it a chip if you want. Whit Merrifield. Man, Whit had a great Royals career. He had a good baseball.
You hit Whit.
Finally retired, but yeah, multi-hit Whit. We had a lot of nicknames for him. But the Royals told him he was an organizational player. And when he heard that really worked him. He says, oh, yeah, an organizational player, I'll show you. And when he got to the big leagues, every single day he attacked. He broke George Brett's all-time game streak of games he played. I don't remember what the number was, but it was a big number. And Whit battled. And I'll never forget that. He would talk to us and say, man, I got that chip, fellas. And I'm going to be dangerous.
Salvi is special still at this age. And I thought it was interesting winning the WBC. Everybody wanted to make the WBC out to be better than anything else. He was one guy that was very smart that went, hey, this is really, really special. But winning in Kansas City was really, really special. I mean, he is a Royal. When you talk about it, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no question about it. When you look at his numbers, what he's been able to do, World Series champion, great player. Just what is it like to have that rock of a player, George Brett, just honoring him for breaking the home run record there in Kansas City? As we know, George Brett is one of the greatest players who have ever played the game. Just what's Salvi like to that franchise?
Chris, when you have a pedigree like that, you're driven. His training regimen, when he shows up to work, he comes at 1 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. He starts in the gym. He starts toning up his body. He'll get into the hot tub. He'll take a cold tub. He'll study the pitchers. He'll study the pitcher that's facing him that night. He'll face his pitcher that he's catching. He'll study him. And by the time game time comes, he's locked and loaded, but he's prepared. He's a guy who knows what it takes. And that's what you're talking about with these young guys, learning how to do that. So when you have one or two guys in there, a Mark Kotze too, you have but he's a manager. It's a little bit different. He's in his office. He's giving his players a little freedom. But do your homework, young Oakland A's players, and look up your skipper and see what kind of career he had. And Salvi, his players watch him. He comes into the locker room like this, whether he's losing or not. This season, like you said, has not been the season, but you still take pride in being a big league baseball player and on a big league team. And every day is a day in baseball, if that makes any sense. It's every day's great. It's a great day to do something for people. Bring them off the couch. I remember being in that locker room and I'd go, fellas, there's going to be 1 million people watching through that television there. See those cameras right there? Bring those people off the couch. Do something. Come on, man. Fire us up here. And you have to find the way to internally motivate yourself. But you're playing a big league game, something that millions of men and women would love to play. You always have to have that in the back of your mind, Chris. And there's no excuses in this game. You go out, somebody will take your job. That's what happens. Man, everybody wants in. A college crop comes in, a high school crop comes in. But Salvador Perez is a model. He's a role model. Alex Gordon, man, that guy was chiseled. He was great. He had a work ethic. You have to have a work ethic. You have to have a program. You work hard. You have to work. You work in this business. So you'll stay in shape that way, but you have to keep your mind fresh too and realize how grateful it is and how lucky you are to be a ball player. Keep it simple. I remember when I was dragging, I'm only human. I'd be dragging, a little tired, team scuffling, and I would turn on the news about 30 minutes before I left to the ballpark, and I would watch the news, and I would go, wow, that guy lost his job. He's got kids. What? Look at that. Oh, and so I would get in my car and drive to the ballpark, and I would look for jobs that men would be doing on the side of the street and side of the road. And I would look at that guy, and I would tell myself, if I pulled over my car and rolled down my window and said, "Sir, I'm going to the Big A today. I'm a big league baseball player. You want to come with me and work with me at the ballpark today?" That dude would throw his stuff down and jump in your car in a heartbeat, and he would go. My walk from my car to the clubhouse door. That's when I made my gains. All right. And even though some of the places I played, they weren't real pretty underneath the stadium when you're walking in, but by the time I saw that door to the clubhouse, I would get my shoulders back. I would hold my head high, tell myself I'm a big leaguer. And Hud, what are you going to do for someone else today? How are you going to promote your team? How are you going to love on your teammates? What are you going to do? Come on, man. They're counting on you. So I would get out of my little cocoon and I would back up and get my shoulders back and be prepared for going into the clubhouse at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. Set your mind. It's baseball so mental. If you're strong mentally, you'll have no trouble playing every day.
Makes me feel good. Let's go get him today. 38 games left. Hud, man, you are the best. Enjoy the rest of the season. Be well. You'll never be old, my eyes. You live forever. The great Rex Feather. Take care, buddy.
Hey,
be well.
Watch Lumberjack. This guy's a bad dude,
Cobra,
man.
look for the Cobra.
Oh, the hood of the Cobra. You ain't out training me, Chris. And if you hit me, dude, it's a mosquito bite.
Be well, my friend. Oh, the Hud, man. I watched that guy when I was growing up. He was the bet tough. Remember, could have played football at Notre Dame. What a hell of an athlete. What are we doing next? Bill Moriarty from A's Farm will join us right here on A's Cast Live. That's
looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is an 8-time Triple Crown Award winner. Ford Motor Company's highest honor for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall. FolsomLakeFord.com.
Secure your spot for priority access to 2028 season tickets at the A's Ballpark in Las Vegas for just $19.01. The amount honors the founding year of the Athletics franchise in 1901. By joining the priority list, you'll get an early opportunity to grab season tickets before they go on sale to the public, while also supporting youth baseball and softball programs across Southern Nevada. To secure your spot, visit athletics.com/Vegas. A's fans create family traditions every Sunday at the ballpark starting at just $99. Our family 4-pack includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks, and 4 bags of chips or popcorn.
On the way, swung on and drilled to left. Way back, a Rosarena will watch it fly.
Fans can enjoy exclusive items for kids and families at select Sunday matchups. Secure your family 4-pack today at athletics.com/tickets.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game time, schedules, and more.
Grab your A's single game tickets now. Tickets are now available for the 2026 season. Can't miss matchups, exclusive giveaways, and our must-see post-game fireworks shows are just a click away. Find your seats today at athletics.com/tickets.
Here's the pitch. And it's a hit. Folsom Lake Ford has stepped up again, winning the Triple Crown Award, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, now 8 years in a row. Folsom Lake Ford is a top sales leader in the U.S., along with being top in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Now that's a home run. Don't miss the huge savings on your favorite models at your truck headquarters. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
You want something horrifying? And the commander, before we get to Bill Moriarty, I actually sent this out to some people in our organization. I said, beware of the big contract. There are certain guys right now, if you want to be like in negotiations, let me be in negotiations. I've always been pro player, always in my career. But this is like the first time I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There's some guy. Kyle Tucker is the highest paid guy in baseball this season. He's being booed at Dodger Stadium. He is horrifically bad. He's the highest paid player in baseball. But this one, forget Cal Raleigh and one of the worst drop-offs maybe in the history of the game. They did a whole thing on MLB Network about it today. He just signed a big contract extension. Worst drop-off ever. This one takes the cake. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. last year signed a 14-year, $500 million, $500 million. $500 million. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the last time he hit a home run at home at the Rogers Center.
In the regular season.
1 year. He has not hit a home run in his home ballpark in a full year. He still has 13 years left on this deal. $500 million. He's got no home runs at home this year. 0.
And he's on the IL right now with a concussion.
0 home runs at home. He has not hit like when you said it's been 1 year. I knew he hadn't hit a home run. Like, it's been a year. A year?
Not great. Not great. I saw someone on Twitter say, I can't remember
crazy.
who it was before we get to Bill Moriarty, who said that
Bill Moriarty would have a home run by now.
They said that they think that Kyle Tucker is now going to be Chris Bryant. Got the money, just doesn't care about baseball. Well, Chris Bryant had back problems.
He's got the kind of back problems that will stay with him for the rest of his life. Let's be fair. I mean, Chris Bryant's got major back problems. He's when he gets older, it's going to be a big struggle. It's like our guy Eric Chavez. I mean, it's like the back will be, our manager Mark Kotze to this day still has back issues. Kyle Tucker does not have what Chris Bryant has. Now, if he needs to go see the Wizard and he needs to go get a heart, that's a whole different thing. He has not hit a home run at home in a year.
Well played by the Wizard and Kyle Tucker.
He hasn't hit a home run in a year.
Yeah. What's today? Today's the 17th.
I just wonder, as a former bad baseball player, if I got that many at-bats, would I have run one? I mean, because I would have swung out on my keister. Would I have run into one?
Tommy White hit his first home run in how many at-bats? But he finally got one. He has more home runs in the last calendar year at home than Vlad does.
How do you think the Toronto broadcasters are spinning this? They have to be spinning it. And it's just like the fans are like,
they'll be here in a couple weeks. We can, if our buddy Dan Schulman comes, we can ask him.
A home run in a year. Stop making excuses for him. My God. If that was, I would, if that was happening to us, I would cover it. You would see it on NBC. I'd be like, dude, hasn't a home run in a year. Paying him $500 million. This is why you don't want to pay these large contracts. So when we go to Vegas and we got money and you still don't want to do these deals because they're all. We just saw Corey Seager. Corey Seager is still going to make 30. Well, I checked. It was
31 million, 31 and a half or something like that.
31.5 million for the next 5 years. He's hitting 200. I get it. They won the World Series. He was the MVP, but that was a few years ago. Manny Machado's going to make 38 million a year, something like that.
And he's in home run like 19 games or something.
For like the next 7 years.
Remember Nando didn't have any home runs to start the year?
And anytime I said, well, it's the owner's fault. Okay. It's the owner's fault for signing these contracts. But this is a business. So as an owner, I can say, I don't want to do it anymore. I will pay out the rest of these big contracts that are awful. I'm obligated. I'm contractually by law obligated to pay this money, but now I don't want to do this anymore. They have every right to do that. And baseball players just go, no, we just want this to keep happening. Of course you do. You want to be paid, and you can stink, because in other sports, the NBA, they'd have to pay it. In the NFL, they'd find a way to get, what's the cap hit? Get him out of here. I mean, it's unreal. Paying $500 million for a guy who can't hit a home run at home. I mean, $500 million. It's just.
Yeah, he hit one in the postseason, and that was it.
You can go down the line, all these deals. All these big deals are just trash. Generational wealth for what? For what? For years ago, it's like we need big names because of the cable deal. You get a big cable deal, you need to get big television ratings. These cable companies were paying the teams because they wanted everybody in that area to buy cable subscriptions. So the teams were obligated to put big names on the field so people will watch the games and you can sell more cable. Well, cable deals are dying. They're dying. What are the Texas Rangers getting? Zero from cable. They have their own Rangers network. For God's sakes, we hear that Marquee, the network the Cubs put out, is failing. So signing players just to sign big names to help keep these cable deals going, that model's dead. Ugh. Crazy. Bill Moriarty, Athletics Farm, joins us here on A's Cast Live. Bill, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Towny? I don't know if you remember Billy Beane once said, it's not the contracts you don't sign that'll kill you. It's the ones you do sign that can kill you. So to the point you were just making.
I remember doing an interview with Billy Beane, and he goes, do you look at attendance with Mark McGwire? And it ruffled some people's feather, but you're like, yeah, I'm looking at attendance, and Mark McGwire's here, and so it's like, and traded him to St. Louis. All right, the number one thing we want to know: how is our precious Leo? What is going? I've heard rumblings, shoulder, some things, been a little banged up. It's okay, it happens. He needs, like our young guys up here, he needs to learn to play a full season. What do we got with Leo?
Yeah, I mean, he has been a little banged up. He, had a finger issue. He's had some other things going on. He went on the IL a little while back earlier in the summer. He hasn't been on the IL recently, but they've been kind of taking care of him a little bit. Like last week, he only played 2 games and he DH'd in both those games. The week before, I think he played 5 out of the 6 games. So they are kind of babying him a little bit. I'm kind of wondering if the reason we haven't seen him maybe move up to AAA yet this season is because he's a little banged up and maybe they don't want to push him while he's not at full strength. But despite that, he has still been hitting well, even though he's been banged up lately. In his last 3 games, he's 4 for 13 with 3 doubles. And on the season, he's hitting .290. He's got 13 home runs. And if I'm correct, he's still leading all A's minor leaguers with 34 stolen bases. So despite being a little banged up, he has performed well on the field this season. Hopefully he can still manage to make it on the field enough to, get in some good quality time here this next month or so that's left in the season for him. But, I think the key thing is still at the age of 19, he has been performing well in AA. His numbers are actually better, I'd say, overall than they were last season. So, Leo has been making progress despite some of the bumps and bruises.
I've had a lot of people ask me recently, especially at the ballpark in Sacramento, about when's he moving to AAA? Why is he not here? Why is he not? And I want your opinion first before I give you mine. Now that I've been to Las Vegas, that ballpark, and actually seen real baseball for an entire week, After I was at the Red Rock Hotel at the pool playing King of the Mountain, fighting those kids off at the big water tower in the pool, by the way, which I did. Eventually, the kids did knock me off after I've done the whole Vegas thing. And I can't. First of all, how do you feel about if he stays in Midland the entire season?
Yeah, well, I actually asked A's minor league hitting coordinator Todd Takayashi about this just on my last farm podcast for A's Cast a week or two ago. And, he said he wasn't sure, whether we were going to see Leo in AAA or not this year. He genuinely wasn't sure what was going to happen. Again, I think more than anything at this point, I think it has to do with him being a little banged up. If he was fully healthy, I think we'd probably see him up at AAA at least for the last month of the season. But, do you really want to push him forward to the next challenge if he's banged up, if he's not really, in great physical condition? Now, also, Vegas is a weird place to play and a weird place to hit and a weird place to do everything, as you know. So, it's something to think about anyway.
All right, now I'm going to give you my opinion.
Okay.
So I, for years, worked for the San Jose SaberCats in arena football. I know what crazy, high scoring, what it's like. It's not real.
Yeah.
That's what Vegas is. I don't have a problem with him playing a full year of it's AA is still very good baseball.
Yeah.
I do not have a problem with him playing a full season in regular baseball, because the minute you go to Las Vegas and you start, if we call Sacramento normal for that league, oh my God. I mean, it's basically arena football.
Yeah.
Those games are crazy. 19, 17, 22 the runs being. So if he goes there and he goes off, it's not real. What you see there is not real. The pitchers are not that bad. The hitters are not that good. I do know this. A full year of Leo at Midland, banged up, not banged up, healthy, just a full year of Midland, those numbers and our evaluations of him will be real.
Yeah, I mean, as we've seen with many hitters who've moved up, I mean, hitting at AA Midland can be much more of a challenge than hitting at AAA in Las Vegas. We've seen guys that, weren't on that big a tear at AA Midland, and they get up to Vegas and suddenly they're hitting home runs every other game, So, perhaps if you want a player to really work a little harder and be a little more disciplined, being at AA Midland for a good while is maybe not such a bad thing, because hitting at Vegas and, pitching at Vegas too, can really throw you off your game a little bit. So if Leo's at Midland for the entirety of his 19-year-old season, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world.
All right, let's head to, the rapper is 2 Chainz. What do we call Drew Burress? 4 chains, 5 chains? I don't know how many chains he's wearing these days. How's our number 1 pick doing?
Well, real interesting, so he's at Stockton. So far, he's had 8 hits. 3 of them have been home runs. 3 of them have been doubles. And 2 of them have been singles. So I think it's safe to say the power is real anyway. And he's also drawn 10 walks already. So some people will be happy to hear that as well. His overall batting average right now is .235, but I think his OPS is over 1,000 at this point. So, in his first handful of games, he's certainly been, putting on a display there in Stockton, which is great to see. I'm sure, we're likely to see him starting next season at High A Lansing. So that'll be a little more of a challenge. But, he's certainly shown, for a guy who they say is 5'9", I'm not sure that he is 5'9", that he certainly has a lot of power in that not imposing frame of his anyway.
He's got swagger. I mean, it is real. And everybody felt it in Arizona down in Mesa when they were doing that camp. Eno Saris, our national columnist from The Athletic, talked about seeing him. Georgia Tech was down on the farm taking on Stanford, and you could tell he was the dude on the team. Everybody followed him. He's the kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that you need in your organization. That's what you want from a number 1 pick. Question: how good is his defense?
He's very good defensively. He's been playing center field, and, he looks like a guy who looks like he can stick in center field. He's got some speed out there. He's got some range, and he's aggressive. He's not afraid to go after balls, So I don't see any reason he couldn't stick in center field, unless you happen to have a better center fielder ahead of him. He could always play right too. His arm is good enough. So I don't think defense is any problem with him. I think, the power appears to be real too. I think the key question will be, does he have a good enough batting average? Does he, hopefully not strike out too much? The power is going to be real. He can play in the outfield. He's got some athleticism. The key is just, keeping him from maybe swinging at too many pitches, and making enough contact. I think he'll probably be okay on those fronts in the long run, but those might be the things that he needs to work on the most in the early stages of his professional career here.
Before we go to pitching, anybody else you want to talk about offensively?
Yeah, a guy who does not get talked about enough this season is the A's second-round draft pick last year, Devin Taylor, the outfielder. I'm sure you remember his name. He's had one of the best seasons of anyone in the A's minor league system, and he was just drafted last year. He's only 22. He started the season in Lansing. Now he's up at Midland. He's hitting .335 at Midland, which is not an easy place to hit. His combined stats on the season between Lansing and Midland, he's first in the system in home runs with 18. He's first in the system in hits with 139. He's second in the system in walks with 76, and he's second in the system in RBIs with 92. So there's nothing this guy isn't doing at the plate, and he was just drafted last year. He's 22. He's hitting .335 at Double-A Midland. This guy is not far away. Imagine if he can hit .335 in Midland. I think he's got 12 home runs in maybe 2 months at Midland. Imagine what he can do at Vegas. So, this guy, Devin Taylor, is not far away. Just drafted last year, having a phenomenal season. It's not impossible to imagine him turning up in the A's outfield in the second half of next season. He can hit for power. He's been hitting for average. And he's patient too. He takes walks and he gets on base, so Devin Taylor's kind of been doing everything you could possibly hope for at the plate. And I did also want to mention 18-year-old Brayson Gudez, who, impressed in spring training. He started the season in Stockton. Now he's moved up to Lansing, still 18 years old. He's hitting over 300 on the season, and he's second in the system in hits. And I think he's second in the system in doubles. He's got 27 doubles too. He's 18 years old, playing at High A Lansing now. So Devin Taylor and Brayson Gudez are probably two of the most impressive stories on the offensive side in the A's minor league system this season.
I want to apologize to Sky Bolt. No offense on this one, but you had such a great name, and it's a great example. Sky Bolt was Mickey Mantle in Vegas. His numbers were just incredible. And then he comes up, we're in Oakland, and you're like, this guy can't play. So it's like, that's why when you talk about Taylor or we talk about anybody, right? It's like Jamie Arnold, who we're going to get into. I'm sorry. I know everybody, it's Vegas. It's AAA. It's better. It's like that environment is so not regular, real baseball. Yeah. That Midland is real baseball. It's like almost like when Jacob Lopez was struggling this year. I was like, I don't want him to go back to Vegas. Send him to Midland. Send him to somewhere that's regular. It's a regular environment. Vegas and all these other AAA parks that are in elevation and in thin air, it is not regular. There's no humidors.
Yeah,
they're not regular. This isn't real. I don't know
the real world.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know. And you talk to our pitchers who come from Vegas, and it's like, oh, my God. So it's like I have no problem with guys sticking in Midland because I feel like we can actually get a good idea who they are. Speaking of that, how's our lefty Jamie Arnold?
So Jamie Arnold has been pitching well, particularly the last few months. So on the season, he's got an ERA of 3.88, but he got off to a rough start early this season. But through June, July, and August, he's been putting up an ERA of 2.75. So that's showing some real improvement. And he's been averaging about 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's been walking a few too many guys, which he never really did in his college career. Good to see as well. I think he's only given up 9 home runs on the season. So, it's nice to see those home run totals being low for these pitchers too. The big thing with Jamie Arnold, which is the case often with many of these minor league guys, going back to Sonny Gray, The A's have been trying to get him to throw the changeup more, which, a lot of these college pitchers don't have to rely on so much. And as you know, you do kind of need it in the major leagues. They've been trying to get him to throw that changeup more. And like many minor league pitchers, he's not real eager to throw that changeup because he ain't used to throwing it. And he's a little afraid of it. They're telling him, don't worry, just throw it. We don't care what happens. You're going to need to develop it, to get to the big leagues, but you need a changeup, and these guys never want to throw it because they're just not comfortable with it. So hopefully he can start throwing the changeup a little more, get a little more comfortable with it. But like I said, 2.75 ERA, June, July, and August. He's on a good track anyway.
Cody, book me Jamie Arnold. I'll talk him into it.
You're going to be the changeup coach.
You need to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
It does not matter that you went out and blew everybody away in the ACC, and it doesn't matter if you go out and you blow away people in the minor leagues. Tampa Bay right now, who is the best team in the American League, is throwing more changeups than anybody else in baseball. And every one of their guys has a different form. They don't care. They got different changeups, right? Some guys, are just throwing your classic circle change. Some guy, they got all kinds of different changeups going on. But to throw something that is a changeup. Right.
Well, that's what they've been trying to tell him. It's about development, not performance at this point. That's the whole point.
Yeah. And Gage Jump's the same thing. You've got to get this, right?
Right. They would have loved if Gage Jump arrived in the major leagues with a more polished changeup. Again, now he's having to work on it at the major league level. So
a couple things. We just saw once again for the 6th straight year, velocity is up in Major League Baseball. But the usage of fastball for 6 straight years is down. I was listening to the Marlins pitching coach, and he was saying, listen, the one thing everybody can hit is a fastball. You've got to be able to throw other pitches in the strike zone to be successful. Yeah. And you just can't get up there and pump fastballs or everything also just can't be hard because they're going to time it. So you have to disrupt their timing. These kids got to learn a changeup.
Don't quote me on this, but I believe I read a study at one point that said the most effective pitch you can throw is any pitch that is 6 miles an hour or more different than the previous pitch. That changing speeds is the key to fooling hitters. As your friend Dr. Emo used to say, hitting is timing and pitching is disrupting timing.
The guy I do a show with here in San Francisco on NBC, Shooty Babbitt, who's one of the great scouts in our game, who watches more minor league pitchers, and he just goes, best pitch is a changeup. So I don't care if you're going like Alvarado's trying the split or you're trying the seam shifted wake where you're trying to get the changeup to move kind of like airplane wings, whatever the science is, the traditional, I threw a circle change, whatever it is, you've got to have something. And the one thing that I love about Tampa is saying, because traditionally right-handers, they don't like right-handed, unless like Trevor Hoffman, it's your strikeout pitch. You don't throw a right-handed changeup to a right-handed hitters. They don't. Tampa's like, are you kidding me? Changeup. So yeah, get me Jamie Arnold. I'll talk him into it. It's like, son, you want to be good. First of all, you want to stop getting hammered. You want to not have an ERA at some point where because if his ERA is that high and you say the last 3 months it's like 2.78, that means he was getting hit hard before. You want to stop that, you got to have a changeup. So, but he's on track, and that's good to know. He's going to be special. Who else you like pitching? Because God knows, Bill, we need pitching.
Well, I'll tell you, it's sad because so many of the A's top pitching prospects have had to already come up, and the really sad case was left-hander Wei-In Lin. I mean. He was just 20 years old. He had an ERA under 2 at Midland. If he had stayed healthy, we probably would have seen him in the big leagues at this point with all the pitching the A's have needed. And, unfortunately now he's got to have the Tommy John. So, we're kind of back to square one. And
he hasn't had it yet?
What's that?
Has he had it yet?
I think he has. Yeah, I think he has. I mean, I haven't asked about it lately, but I'm assuming he has because it was some time ago that,
so 14 months. We now know it's 14 months.
Yeah. So, I mean, he might start to get back into action towards the end of last season, maybe in Arizona or something next season. But, I mean, we're not going to see him for real, until after next season. So, he probably, if he'd stayed healthy, he probably would have been in the big leagues by now. And we'd have had a 20-year-old left-hander. Unfortunately, honestly, the depth isn't that great once we get past Jamie Arnold on the pitching front right now. Unfortunately, there were a lot of high hopes for Braden Nett. He was unhealthy for much of the season, and then he completely lost his command. He's thrown 29 innings this season. You know how many walks he's issued? 39. So his command completely abandoned him. He's back at Midland now. They wanted to get him out of Vegas.
No Boyle-like.
He just pitched a few innings in Midland the other night and looked pretty good. I think he maybe didn't walk anyone, so that was good. So we're trying to get Braden Nett back on track. There's a couple guys at Midland look a little promising. Zane Taylor, who was just our 5th round pick last year, right-hander, started the season in Lansing. He's now at Midland. He's got an ERA in the 3s. Again, just taken last year, already up to Double-A Midland. And Nathan Detmer, who was the A's 5th round pick a few years ago, I think 2023, he's now up at Midland. He's got an ERA around 4. He throws very hard. He's a big guy. But once you get past those guys, there aren't too many guys high in the system that, you can look at and go, oh, they could be here, next season. We need to count on guys like Gage Jump and JT Ginn and Jacob Lopez staying healthy and staying on track, and Jamie Arnold taking the next step forward. And the big key would be if Luis Morales could get anywhere near what he was late last season again. That would be a huge development. He's still battling things, but we know what he is capable of. We saw him do it at the major league level. If he can get anywhere near back to that, that would make a huge difference in the A's pitching picture.
Your podcast on A's Cast is a must listen to. Thank you for everything you do. Nobody covers our minor leagues better than you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Towny. Always good talking to you.
Bill Moriarty, Athletics Farm. Follow him on Twitter. Go to his website. Does an outstanding job talking to all of our coaches and everybody in our system and keeping you up to date what's going on. We're back tomorrow at 2:30.
Same time, 2:30.
Up next is Johnny D and Chris Carey.
Correct.
And then I'm back in a half hour with Shooty Babbitt on NBC and on A's Cast.
Also correct.
Thank you to Rex Hudler. Thank you to Bill Moriarty. And we'll see everybody tomorrow. I'll be back in a half hour.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'scast. That's athletics.com/A'scast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'scast today.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.